Okay, thank you so much, Taras. Hello, guys. Good morning. How you doing all this morning? Everyone get good sleep last night? Awesome. Play Tika Party? Was it good? I didn't manage, but well, hopefully it was good. I'm glad to see you all around then. As Taras introduced me, my name is Chichlowski. I'm a CEO of a company that is called Mindsense Games. And we are a publisher and kind of a subsidiary company for a bigger company called Boombeats. This one some of you may know. We're from Poland. And while Boombeat is mostly focused on free-to-play markets, and they do develop and publish free-to-play titles, me as a Mindsense Games, I'm more in the niche because I'm doing premium games. So something like really weird a little bit, but we're trying still to make a business out of that. I used to work for a company called Vivid Games with a huge franchise called Real Boxing, and I used to be a CMO and head of marketing there. So the whole subject about marketing and App Store and how to promote your titles, this is something very close to my heart. This is something that I know a little bit of, so I'll try to share some knowledge with you. First of all, a question for you guys. How many of you already released and published your mobile game? Cool, cool, cool. Congrats, you're already a winner, hopefully. How many of you managed, of those guys, how many of you managed to get featured on the App Store? Okay, so the ratio is quite good. I see like probably 30% of you who released the game got featured. And how many of you are happy after featuring ended about your organic number of downloads? Okay, 2 people, okay. Yeah, that's the thing, right? And nowadays, I mean, even back in the days, it was much, I think the featuring effect was much bigger. So basically, we hoped for that featuring, and after it ended, usually our game dies. And that's very inconvenient because basically we're on the mercy of big app stores or Google Play or whatever other app store. So it's very important to take care about your marketing and App Store optimization to get as much visibility on the store as it is possible. Couple of really scary numbers. There are currently 800,000 games on the App Store and there are 3 million on Google Play. There is 1,000 games being submitted every day on the App Store and over 1,000 on Google Play. Those are metrics from like 6 months ago, so I'm pretty much sure the numbers are higher anyway. And as you can see, only 60 or 90 games can be featured weekly, which means that basically, what, like, shit, you have like 10%? I mean, even less than 10% apps that are being submitted through the week are basically featured. And that's why you have this very scary numbers that 60% of games have never been downloaded even once. And it's mostly due to the fact that basically what we are doing and many of starting developers or even publishers, what they do is they release the game, they hope for featuring. If it happens, then it's nice. We got spike of downloads and sales, and after that, it's nothing. And there are ways in order to get your organic visibility higher and higher. How to do that? Well, first of all, we need to understand that still there's tons of downloads that comes through organic search. So people actually looking for strategy games, I don't know, Magic, RPG, Cthulhu, roguelike game, whatever. Basically, they do it through search windows. So there's tons of downloads coming from that. And therefore, we need to take care of our game on the App Store and all the marketing aspects in order to get enough visibility to be in that window. And there are 2 ways to do it. I mean, there are 2 aspects of building a presence on the App Store, both App Store and Google Play. There are differences, which I will tell about, but basically, we need to take care about 2 things. One is something I call Discoverability. So it's it's an aspect that shows how popular you're in the search, so those organic search things. And the other one is differentiation. So once, let's say, you will be searchable and your game is, I don't know, Cthulhu RPG, and someone will look for Cthulhu RPG, they will see a list of titles, then there is the second aspect, the differentiation, why the hell the user should click in your game, download your game rather than the competition. And Basically, on both stores, it looks the same. So you need to take care about those two aspects, but they differ from each other about what are the particles, small elements of those aspects. Just a sec. Okay. So in terms of discoverability, there's a couple of things that we need to take care about. Obviously, both stores have algorithm that pulls you up in the rankings and shows you in a search window. And this ranking calculates a couple of aspects. One of the aspects is the metadata. So the title, the strength of the keywords that you have in the title, subtitle, in the text description, stuff like that. And the difference between Google and Apple here is that on Apple, there is a special window, as you probably know, called keywords. You have 100 characters space, you fill it in, and, and you have a list of keywords. On the Google Play, it is very different because the Google pulled that from the text description, so it do it automatically. Nevertheless, those things, and we're going to talk a lot about it and a little bit more about the keywords, are super important in terms of how you're being searchable. So this is something to take care about. Google introduced something else last year, and it's called Vitals. You probably are aware of that, and and you need to be fully aware that this is like super crucial for Google. So basically, they look very much lately into what's the performance of your app, how well it is doing, etc. So how many there are crashes, ANRs, etc. We're going to talk about that. Both stores take a look about the retention rates. Google take care more about the crash rates. Both stores take care about the uninstall rates and ratings and reviews. And coming to the differentiation, when you're being searched and when you're being found, finally there are obviously assets that you need to take care of, like videos, splash screens, screenshots, icon, that will differentiate your game from the other. Okay, few things about the keywords. Who worked with keywords, who is like aware how this works? No one? Okay. So it's good to talk about that. This is super important. Keywords takes a main role in order to find your game among the others. So for instance, and the most important part of the keywords is the title name. So whatever you think your game is about, whatever is relevant for your game, you need to put it in your title. And, well, sometimes you can see those, like, I call them ASO ninjas or ASO magicians, and they put in a title like 3D simulator, sim track, strategy, blah, 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 whatever. And this is a hack that doesn't work anymore that much, but basically they try to fill everything with their keywords in their name in order to be searchable in the most, like, popular way. Basically, the idea of finding the keywords is that you can use services. Some of them are for free, or you can get a shareware version so you can actually start using them and check the keywords. One of them is called Sensor Tower, so you can note that down and you can use it. But you're basically looking for keywords that have high traffic, and the parameter is called traffic, so how many people search that word, and have low difficulty. So there are not many apps that are being listed under that keyword. And you get an ASO factor. Everything that will close to 1 will make it stronger. Anything below that will make it less strong. Okay. So what you do is you look basically you search a list of keywords that are being relevant for your genre, for your mechanics, and then you basically put them in a title, and subtitle, and in text description. A couple of words regarding radars. It is super crucial to have a good radars pop-up window, do include that in a game, because both stores take care about that. If you don't do it, you will get a lot of 1 stars, because people, by their own will, they do not want to give you 5 stars. Regarding keywords, one more thing. Google Play did a great job last time. 6 months ago, they introduced a keyword listing, so you can actually see on a Google Play console what are your keywords and how many downloads they do drive to your application. So I highly encourage you to check it. Okay. So as you can see, that's vitals. So as I said, it's super important as well to look at that, and it shows the performance of your application. And if you hover the cursor around those question marks around wait, I need to see it. Yeah, total crashes and total ANRs, and you can see the question mark next to that, like a very small sign question mark. If you hover the cursor around that, you will see the averages for ANRs and crashes among the competition in your genre. So you should be below that. If you're above that, wasn't me. If you're above that, it means that you're gonna get punished in terms of visibility on the Google Play. They will basically list you out, so take care about that as well. Track it, see how much you have ANRs and crashes. This is the way how people behave on the App Store. And we got basically 2 types of and this especially counts more of the App Store thing rather than Google Play. But basically we have two types of the consumers, 2 types of the visitors on the App Store. And one is decisive, and he decides really quickly, or whenever or not he wants to download the app. And the other one is called Explorer. So basically we need to take care about both of them. This decisive for them, the most crucial aspects is the video. So you probably know that on the App Store there's an auto-tune. When you upload the video, when you search through the games, they play the video automatically. That's why the most common mistakes of the young developers is to put the logo at the beginning of the video. Don't do it. No one cares about that. Just play the gameplay from the very beginning. And this is something to address the decisive targets. Explorers will go through your meta, will check the ratings, will check the screenshots. They do not read text description, so don't worry about that. That's a hint as well. Only 3% of people read text description. No one cares about that. Just keep it clean, keep it nice, and remember to put keywords there in terms of Google Play. But besides that, just focus on the screenshots and focus on the video. Okay. There are obviously ways to test your assets and to test your screenshots and video. And there are a couple ways to do it. There is Google Play Experiment, as you probably know it. The problem with Google Play Experiment is that it takes a lot of users to roll out, and it takes a lot of time to roll out. So you need to spend quite efficient amount of time or money to put the users in order to get results. So, and it's obviously a problem when your game is not out yet, and you don't want to experiment on a game that is live. So there are services called one like PickFu. I highly encourage. It's a really nice service, very cheap. For $200, $100, you can already test ideas for the icon or for the screenshots. Okay. Question for you. Why do you think the one on the left, the one on the left won? It's a good idea, but you got faces on the one with the Emilia. Emilia, it's the name of that character. Faces, of course. The first one who introduced that was Supercell, as you probably know it. Some people done it before, but they scale it up to an amazing level. You always try to put your character face in the icon. It's because we psychologically are relating very much more to something we know. And we're specialists in reading faces because this is all the time what we're doing during the whole day. So whenever you have a character, nice character, put their faces in a nice actionable pose, so it has to do something. But the reason why Amelia was 16% worse than those two guys is because it's not related that much to the game. So not only you put a face, but try to put a relation as well to the game. So here, as you can imagine, it's a fighting game. That's why you have a fist. It's a PvP game. That's why you have two characters. So it's important to put not only faces and nice actionable pose, but as well put some relation to your game, to your genre, mechanics, style. So ideally, your users should immediately understand what the game is about. Okay, on iOS, you have either vertical or horizontal position. Just a quick note on that. Both of them have pros and cons, so you might need to check that. Basically, the landscape-oriented gallery has more direct installs, so people, those decisive people, they will install it quickly. And the horizontal one, it's the one for those who are like to search through the App Store. Both of them, I would say, to sum it up, I would say that both of them are very reasonable and very nice for different types of titles. So the more casual game you have, I would go for portraits. The more core game you have with nice videos, I would go for horizontal. Okay, and finally, ASO, so this whole thing I'm talking about, and I'm rushing through, sorry about that. But basically, it takes a lot of time, and it's optimization. It's a process. That's why people call that Aso App Store Optimization, because it's not a one-action thing. It's not a thing you do, and you forget about it. You should optimize it. You should change your keywords, change your screenshots, change your videos, A/B test them, check the results, because the whole market changes all the time. So it's a process thing, and pay attention to that. I had experience with one title that I managed to rise the organic level by 3 times higher, 3 times more downloads, just because I did a really nice job over the course of 3 months. And last, did you guys, it's a thing about the Google Play, just a side note. Did you guys notice something that happened to you on summer on Google Play? Anyone witnessed or experienced this kind of fail that happened? Okay. Yeah, nasty things. No Google people around, right? Can I call them by name? Nasty bitches. All right. Anyway, so the thing, what happened is that they changed the algorithm of how the more game looks like. There you have the more games like that section or whatever. And before, if you had a really nice ASO, you could be searchable through there and you could get a lot of organic downloads from that point. But they changed that, and right now they're manually curating it. So they're choosing specific apps that are being shown there, which means they even have more control of what's featured or not. And literally, I've given similar speech, and I was talking about that 3 months ago in Poland, and half of the room was affected by that. Well, it's a kind of a side note. I don't have a solution for that. We just need to be aware that what happened will happen over time more and more on both stores because they want more control. So it's harder to do the ASO, but it's important to do it nevertheless. I highly recommend that you look for the web. There are really nice, papers and really nice kind of like guidelines for doing that. So actually, the whole subject of ASO is pretty much covered, and well, it's just important. So you guys take care about it, and believe me, you will feel it on your organic level of traffic. Thanks so much. That's it from me. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer. But first of all, I always wanted to do it, so please smile. Please smile. Cool.
Okay, Jan, thank you very much. So guys, if you have a question, just raise your hands up.
Hello. Earlier during your talk, you mentioned that the long title with lots of keywords doesn't work anymore. Can you please elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, it's not a proven info. I just know the guys from Google and Apple. It is still my job. So I was taking for them since like 6 years. So I've heard that from them. It's like they said that if you put a lot of names in a title, so you're taking the whole space and taking the advantage of the strength of the keywords in a title, they actually punish you for that. So the algorithm reads it and it decreases the value of those keywords. But it's not proven. That's what I've heard. I've heard from them, and I've heard from a couple of developers. So I guess it works. I put 4 keywords. It's kind of golden standard for me, but however people want. Sure.
Can you tell difference between this information and not for games, but for example for application for kids, like educational application and so on?
Okay, so in terms of the values, it may change a little bit in terms of, I don't know, how the decisive and going through the people go through the App Store and how they check, and those numbers that I showed, they may different a little bit, but the idea is the same. So I'm still 100% positive that if you have an application, you still need to take care about your screenshot, about your videos, about your title, because the whole keywording thing works the same, and the whole graphical assets works the same. You're still being among a competition, so you still compete with some other titles, so you still need to take care about your discoverability and differentiation.
Hi. First of all, thank you for your speech. It was really interesting for me. And one question regarding the audience. If we speak about the different ages, for example, do we need to, make any specific changes in icons or maybe the titles if we target specific audiences? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And it's more related to something else that I actually talk about as well. But it's about targeting and market positioning. And the answer is yes, of course. The answer is even more thorough, I would say, because you need to understand who your target audience is. It's a huge mistake many of us that we do, is that we target to everybody. Who your game is for? Mobile player, okay. Now you need to understand who your game is for, and it's much easier then to propose the new assets and everything. So I would say yes, of course.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, so no question. So thank you very much, Jan. It was
Thanks,
very
guys.
interesting. Applause, please, for our speaker.